In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do your sales calls for your social media marketing agency utilizing a pitch deck. So I'm going to go over from A to C how to do the actual sales call, and I'm also going to show you exactly how to build the pitch deck. And if you're new here, my name is Max. I run an SMMA, a super niche marketing agency, and on this channel we explore how to start, run, and grow a successful marketing agency that helps us produce great results for our clients, but also helps us as the entrepreneur to achieve financial time and location freedom. And the pro tip for you is to watch this video in double speed. It just helps you to consume the content faster. But without further ado, let's just dive into this video. All right, so we're inside of my computer right now, so let's just dive straight into this presentation. So the first thing I'm going to talk about are just some important things to remember. Then we're going to talk about the structure of the actual sales call, then spin, what that is, and then the actual pitch deck template. So I'm going to give you a template on what to include in the pitch deck. Then I'm going to give you our actual pitch deck example that we're utilizing right now. And then finally, we're going to do a summary. So let's begin with some important things to remember. So the first thing I want to talk about is the actual goal, right? What is the goal with the sales call? So your main goal on a sales call is to offer a solution to your prospect's problem, right? It doesn't matter how convinced you are that you have the right solution, the prospect must believe in it to buy. So what I mean by this is that it doesn't really matter how convinced you are that you have a good solution to your prospect's problem, but the main goal that you have on the sales call is to get the prospect to understand that you have the best solution for the problem. And I'm going to go over in just a second here how we actually accomplish that. The next thing I want you to remember is that you always want to understand your prospect. So by asking the right questions, you want to identify the problems, needs, and desires your prospects have. And telling your prospect how great your solution is, that's okay, but having the prospect to tell you how great your solution is, that is great. And that's the nirvana that we really want to reach, essentially. And the only way to get a prospect to tell you how good your solution is to ask them questions and ask them the right questions. So we're going to talk about that spin methodology or that question methodology here in just a sec. The next thing I want to talk about is to don't tell, but ask. So this is really what I've just talked about as well, right? But the main thing a prospect wants to on a sales call is to feel understood and tell you about their problems, needs, and desires. Because the only way you can have a solution for his problem is if you understand his problems. So keep this in mind when you do your sales calls. Don't feel like you have to jump on a sales call and just sell them and tell them a bunch of things. The first thing you want to do when you do a sales call is to listen to them. Ask them the right questions. Let them tell you what problems they have. What things are they struggling with that they need your help to solve, essentially. Because I've been doing quite a few sales calls myself now for the past 5 years, but I've also been on quite a few sales calls when I've been interested in different solutions or whatever now might have been, right? And the worst thing as a buyer when you jump on a sales call is when you have a salesperson who just talks all the time and he doesn't allow you as the buyer to tell the salesperson what you're actually looking for. So don't tell. Ask. The next thing I want to talk about is that we all sell differently, right? We're all different people, and I don't want you to have this image in your head that you have to be a super extroverted person that kind of push sell, right? Some of the best salespeople in the world are extreme introverts. So understand that we're all different and we're all selling different. So we all have different personalities, right? Don't try and be somebody else. Don't believe you have to be a certain personality to be a master closer. Leverage your natural talents and you will find them with practice. So just be yourself, essentially. I know that it sounds like a cliche, but over time you will kind of figure out how to do your sales style. Don't try to be somebody else, but go with the flow, go with your natural flow, essentially. And the final thing that I want to talk about here as well that is really important to remember, especially when you're starting out, is to leverage media buyers. So find a media buyer with experience in your niche, leverage their system, past results, and case studies in your own sales presentation. This is basically a matrix hack if you have no past experience, and this is very important. So what I mean by this is that I get a lot of questions from people that are just starting their social media marketing agency, but they find it very hard to sell because they have never had a client in the past, so they don't know what service to deliver, how to present it on a sales call, and they have no case studies that they can back their work up with because they haven't had a client in the past, right? So what I recommend that you do then is to find a media buyer who has experience in your niche and then leverage their system or their knowledge on how to actually deliver the services, but also leverage their past client results and testimonials on your own sales call. Because if you find a white label media buyer, they want to help you to make sales, because the only way they're gonna make money is if you bring them business, right? So if you find a really good media buyer who has experience in your niche, leverage their knowledge essentially and use that on your sales call. So if the prospect asks you, do you have any past clients or testimonials or results that you can show me? Then you can just say, yeah, sure. And then you show them the results from the media buyer that you're going to work with. So this is a really powerful hack when you're starting out to actually leverage other people's skills and past past results. So yeah, that's just a bonus tip for you. The next thing I want to talk about is the structure of an actual sales call. Like what do we actually do on a sales call and when do we do what essentially. So it all begins with Zoom, right? And I highly recommend that you do a Zoom call. So do all of your sales calls over Zoom. This allows you to show your face and share your screen. And even if your prospect doesn't feel comfortable showing their face, you definitely should. It will build trust and let their guard down as well. So in the beginning, you might be a little bit uncomfortable showing your face, but I highly recommend that you just do it anyways, because over time you're going to get more and more comfortable with it. And it's just a nice way to allow the prospect or the person that you're selling to show them that you're a real person. And even if you're not talking, you can show them that you're listening, you can nod, you can smile, you can build rapport a lot faster. And it also lets their guard down because it builds trust if you can show your face. And also on Zoom, you can share your screen. And so the only way you can do a pitch deck or a presentation over a call is to do it over Zoom, obviously. But how you begin a sales call is basically just by doing small talk. So you sit there in the waiting room on Zoom, and then your prospect is about to join the call, you let them in, and the first thing you do is just open up a conversation as you always do, right? With a stranger, right? So you can open the call with just some friendly small talk. Where are they from? What have they done over the weekend? Or whatever now just pops up. You can spend like 1 to 3 minutes just having some small talk. The next thing you do is just to set the agenda of the call. Just let the prospect know how the call is going to go. So normally what I do, I have some small talk and then I say normally, okay John, is it okay if we just dive straight into the call? And then they're gonna say, yeah, sure. And then what you do is that you just explain how the call will go and you just set the agenda for the call. So normally what I say, okay, great John. So normally how I do these calls is that I just have a couple of questions for you. I just wanna know a little bit more about your business, how you generate leads, what you do in terms of advertising right now, what problems you wanna solve, etc., etc. After that, I have a quick presentation to show you and then we can take everything from there essentially. Is that okay with you? And then they're gonna say, yeah, sure, sounds great. And then you dive into the next point, and that is going to be the spin question. So after you've set the agenda, you start to go through the questionnaire that you have or that you prepared. And in the beginning, it can be good to actually have some questions written down that you go through. But over time, you're going to learn, kind of wing it on the call essentially. But basically go through your spin questions and make sure you understand their situation, problems, and needs. And I'm going to go over here in detail very, very soon what spin questions actually are. And that is something that I highly recommend that you start to study a bit more as well. And then after you've gone through the spin questions, that's when you ask them if it's okay to just show your presentation essentially, and then you share your screen and go over the pitch deck. In this video today, I'm going to go over what spin questions are, how you should ask them, and then I'm also going to show you a template of the pitch deck obviously, and then show you a real life example that we're using in our agency right now, our pitch deck right now essentially. So basically how I do this transition is that, okay John, that's basically all the questions that I have for now. So is it okay with you if I share our presentation and tell you a little bit more about what we do? And then they're gonna say, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then the final point is basically just a Q&A after the pitch deck, because they're gonna have some questions, and then you can go for the close as well. And either you close the actual job or you close a follow-up call later on, right? You wanna close something. So I will talk a little bit more about that here in a second as well. But basically during and after the presentation, you will naturally answer questions because the prospect will have questions about certain things that they want you to clarify, etc., etc. And then at the end, you basically go for the close to close the deal, seal the deal, sign the contract, get the payment, or you schedule a follow-up call. So let's go to the next detail, and that is spin. So what is spin? Well, spin selling is a sales methodology where reps organize sales calls using questions from 4 different categories. So there are situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, and then need payoff questions. So the first one is situation questions, right? So understand their current situation about their business, current advertising, etc., etc. So normally what you do in the beginning of the sales call is that you just want to understand the situation from the prospect that you're talking to. You just want to understand what they're going through. If you're running an SMMA, a super niche marketing agency, you're obviously only selling to one specific niche, etc. But maybe you're selling to both roofing and solo contractors, or gym owners and personal trainers. So maybe you want to ask them, what type of business do you run? What's your ideal prospect? How do you currently generate leads and clients right now? Etc., etc. It's just questions about their current situation. And the tip here is that you don't want to ask too many situation questions. And the pro tip here is that you don't want to ask too many situation questions, because the prospect doesn't find it that interesting to just tell you about themselves, right? They're interested in what you have to offer, but it's still very important for you as the salesperson to understand their situation. The next type of question is the problem questions, right? So what problems do they currently have with their advertising right now or in their business? What do they need help with? So a problem question could, for example, be, okay, so how do you generate leads right now, John? Yeah, we do Google Ads and door knocking. Okay, how do you like doing door knocking? Yeah, our sales reps doesn't like it at all. Okay, why doesn't they like doing door knocking, etc.? You just want to have questions here to identify the problem. And obviously it's going to be the problem that you have in a solution to. You need to craft those questions so that the prospects start to tell you about the problems that they have that you can solve. The next type of question is implication question. So that is basically questions that makes the problem bigger, basically pour salt into the wound. So again, if they tell you that, yeah, we're doing door knocking right now, an implication question could, for example, be, okay, why don't you like door knocking? Or why doesn't your sales rep like door knocking? And then they tell you, yeah, well, they don't like the door knock. Most homeowners don't like the door knock. And yeah, it's just an old methodology of sales. And then you can ask them, okay, how do you think that this affects your business in a negative way? That could be an implication question. And then they might tell you, yeah, well, it's very hard for me to find new sales reps because when I tell them that we're doing door knocking, they don't want to join, for example, right? So implication questions is basically identifying a problem and then making the problem bigger. Implication questions are very powerful. And then the next type of question, which is one of the absolute most powerful questions when you do spin, is a need payoff questions. So that is basically identify their desires and what would their life or business be like if the problem was solved. So this is basically the opposite to implication questions. So here you identify positive and make the positive bigger. That's need payoff questions. And with implication questions, you identify negative and make the negative bigger, right? So yeah, the final thing I want to talk about here as well is that what new versus experienced sales reps do. So most new sales reps, they ask a lot of situation questions, and experienced salespeople with higher closing ratios, they ask a lot of implication and need payoff questions. So remember that. So remember, and they've done tests about this. There's a book called Spin Selling by Neil Rackham that I highly recommend that you read and buy. And in that book, they did a ton of studies regarding this when they wrote this book. And they write in the book that a lot of really good sales reps, they ask more implication and need payoff questions versus newbies or beginners in sales, they ask a lot of situation questions. Because the secret behind spin, if you want to call it that, the main thing you need to understand with spin is that why we ask questions is because you want the prospect that you're selling to kind of be part of the solution. You want the prospect to tell you how great your solution is because you want them to kind of understand it themselves by telling you. You want them to kind of sell themselves because it's a lot more powerful to ask a question and then have the prospect tell you why they should do this versus you telling them why they should do this. So again, I reiterate because this is important. It's a lot more powerful for you to ask a question and then have the prospect to tell you why they need to solve this problem versus you telling them why they should solve this problem. So spin is very powerful. The next thing I want to talk about is the pitch deck template. So let's actually go through that right now here right away. I'm going to bring it up. So this is just a pitch deck template that I prepared for you. So normally when I've done my spin questions, then I ask the prospect, they said, okay, for you, if I bring up a quick presentation for you, it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Then I just share my screen and I bring up a presentation like this. So this is going to be kind of a template for you to kind of give you an idea. And I'm also going to show you our actual pitch deck here in just a second. But obviously you shouldn't copy verbatim what we do, but you should change this so that it fits your offer in your niche and so forth. But the first slide that I normally do is just to kind of tell them what I'm going to cover in this presentation, kind of like I did in this video. So first of all, I'm going to cover some results, then the problem in your specific industry, then our solution to the problem, and then finally our offer and how it works. And before I do that, I normally tell them quickly about us as well, right? So I tell them, describe you and your team, or describe us and our team. I have a point on describe who you work with, describe what you specialize in, and then describe what makes you different. And then I normally have an image here of our team that you're going to see here in a second. Then I normally go through like total business cap. This is actually something that I got from the book 100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. And it can be a very good thing to just have a cap on the amount of clients that you work with and then actually tell the client why you do this. We only service 25 customers total, period. And then you can have a sub headline that says something like, we only work with $1 million per year or $2 million per year roofing solar businesses that can and want to grow to $10 million per year, let's say. And then you can tell them kind of why we do this. So quality over quantity. We can produce better service because we work with fewer clients. And normally what happens as well when you work with the more established businesses is they have a better sales team. They normally have better internal business operations as well. And they want to scale. When they find find something that works, they want to scale. And then you can have a slide that kind of tells you about the goal that you're trying to achieve for your clients. So describe what you help your clients with, and then have a subheadline to clarify the main headline even more, right? And again, I'm going to show you an example of this in here in just a second. And then the proof is in the pudding. So then you go over some actual results and case studies if you have that. And if you don't have any of your own case studies, you can leverage case studies from the media buyer that you hire, let's say. So you can describe the case study, have an image of it, and then you can go through the problem in the actual industry. So in our case, when we're in the roofing and solar industry, I describe kind of what the problem that our clients normally have before we start working with them. And then I can have kind of a list here where we kind of break down different problems that people normally have. And then you go through the actual solution. So here we can have multiple slides that shows the prospect your actual marketing solution and what you do to actually solve that problem, right? And again, I'm gonna show you an example of that here in just a second. And then you go through your offer. And then normally what we do is that we have a value stack. So we kind of reiterate what we have in our offer. So item number 1, it's worth X amount of dollars. Item number 2, item number 3, item number 4, and so on and so on. And then we normally have like a bonus here as well that I'm going to show you an example of here in a sec. And then bonus number 2. And then you basically get a total value here of X amount of dollars per month. And okay, so now this presentation is a little bit weird, but you basically present them with a total value of what it is that you're offering. But then you tell them, obviously, we're not going to charge $15,000 per month or whatever this value stack is worth, right? So you do like a price drop at the end, and then you say, we're only going to charge $2,000 per month, or $2,500 per month, or $3,500 per month, or whatever it might be. And then also what we normally have included is that we have an Roi guarantee or a service guarantee, where we basically say that we ask for a 4-month initial agreement, and then after that it's month to month. And if we haven't been able to produce an ROI for our clients within the first 4 months, then we're going to work for free until we do. And we've been utilizing this since 2017 when we started our roofing and solar agency, and we haven't had a single client pick it up yet, essentially. Then we also include here how long the agreement is. So if it is like 90 days for you, or 120 days, or whatever it now might be. We also underline that this price is excluding the ad spend. So this price is our management fee, and then they will have to pay Facebook or Google or whatever it now might be extra on top of that, right? And then we'll also remind them here that we have a cap on the amount of clients that we work with. So for example, just so you remember, John, we have our cap of 25 clients that we work with in total. Right now we're looking for 2 more clients, and I have 8 more calls set up for this in the next week. So this just creates urgency in your offer as well, which is a really smart move, essentially. So that's basically the template one. Now let's continue to the pitch deck example. So let me now show you how we've created this for our own agency. So here is a live example. So again, it looks very similar, right? We tell them that we're going to do a presentation. We tell them here's what we're going to cover: results, the problem, the solution, the offer. Then we go through kind of about us and who we are. We're a small team of 4 media buyers located here in Stockholm, Sweden. We only work with $1 million plus per year residential roofing and solar contractors in the US. We specialize in Facebook ads for roofers and solar contractors since 2017, and we relentlessly focused on one service for one market. Unlike many other agencies that are generic agencies helping everybody with everything, we only focus on one service for one specific industry, essentially. So we underline here that we're specialists. Then also we go over the business cap, as I just showed you. We also talk about why we have a business cap, quality over quantity. Because we have fewer clients, we can produce better service, etc., as I just talked about. And then we also tell them about our goals. So our goal is to help residential roofing and solar contractors to generate more high quality, exclusive leads and deals under their own brand without wasting their time and money on duplicate and expensive leads that are impossible to get a hold of. And this is very individual to the actual niche, right? Because this is not always the case. This is why it's so important for you to not copy verbatim that I'm using in this presentation, right? But you need to change this for your specific niche, because a dentist, they have different problems than a roofing business has. And if you just copy here what I say, then it's not going to resonate with the person that you're talking to. So do your best initially to kind of craft this to your niche, but then over time you can obviously change it. Then I dive into the proof is in the pudding, or some results. So then I go over some case studies, we go over some of our testimonial videos that we have, some written testimonials from different clients. Max has changed our company, so we have a ton of different testimonials that we go through here. And again, here I want to underline as well, right? So if you don't have any testimonials right now, find a media buyer who has experience in your niche and leverage their past client results and testimonials in your presentation. Because there's nothing wrong with doing that, because the media buyer wants you to make sales. That's the only way they can make money. You're not lying or fooling anybody, right? Because the media buyer that you found, they have those results in the past, and that is the actual person who's going to do the service delivery for your client. So of course you can leverage those results and show them in your pitch deck or presentation for your business. This is how you need to start to think like an entrepreneur, right? You need to find people and then find a solution. You're just a problem solver, right? So you show them some case studies and testimonials here. Highly recommend that you find a media buyer. I think I've made that crystal clear by now. And then you go over the problem in your specific industry. Again, you cannot copy verbatim what I'm talking about here because it's always independent from each and every single industry. But we say most residential roofing and solar contractors basically throw some money at the wall trying to see what sticks, and they just want to find a proven marketing system that works and brings in high quality leads and deals and appointments on demand and with predictability. So then we can talk about the specific problems in the roofing solar industry. Most roofers are great at the production side of things, but they lack in marketing and sales skills. Offline marketing is very common: door knocking, team radio, print, yard signs, referrals, billboards. You cannot track it. It's hard to scale. Lead gen sites is something that's very common as well. Home Advisor, Angie's List, Thumbtack, duplicate and very expensive leads. Google Ads and pay-per-click, it's very popular, and therefore the competition is very high. High prices that kill margins. For example, on Google pay-per-click in a very expensive or very competitive market, sometimes you pay like $80 per click in the roofing industry, and in our case we can get leads for less than $20 and booked appointments for less than $80. Huge difference. And then SEO is also something that is very common in the roofing and solar industry. Same thing there, everybody's trying to rank for the same keyword. High competition, takes a long time to get results, etc., etc. And then the final problem here is marketing agencies, right? Generic agencies helping everybody with everything. And that's why I talk a lot about just this on this channel, that you don't want to be a generic agency. You want to be a specialized agency, SMMA, a super niche marketing agency with one market, one offer, and one service that you offer essentially, right? And the thing here, again, I want to underline, don't copy this. You need to figure out what this is for your specific industry, because when you get this right, every single time when I take this up to our prospect, they just sit there and nod, because these are the exact problems that they have. So that's why we do that. And then we also go over the solution, right? So here, again, if you don't have a marketing system right now, if you're new, if you want to find your first client, again, find a media buyer with experience in your niche and then leverage how they would do things. Basically, jump on a call with your media buyer and ask them, how are you going to actually do the service? And then you figure it out, and then you can explain that to the prospects on your sales call. So for example, you can tell them it's going to be a Facebook ad. We're going to drive that traffic to a specific landing page. You can show them a bit more how that landing page is going to work essentially. Then after that, what we do is that we generate the lead, then we drive all of those leads to scheduling page, and then the sales process begins, right? Then also what we do is something called retargeting. So we don't want any leads or prospects to fall through the cracks, so we can do retargeting on Facebook and Instagram, but we can also do retargeting on the Google Display Network. So we explain to them how that works. And then we also explain to them regarding our own lead handling software called homeservice.co, which is our marketing automation system. We have our funnels in there, our scheduling tool, our survey builder and form builder. We have everything in there. So we kind of go over kind of what's included in our software as well. Not mandatory, but the main thing here is the solution. Just kind of make a simple visual explanation of how it's actually going to work when you do your service for your clients, right? So here's what the Facebook ad is going to look like. Here's what the landing page is going to look like. If you're going to generate appointments, here's what that is going to look like. Then we're going to do retargeting, and we're going to have a CRM system and marketing automation system. Here's what that's going to look like. So this is very powerful, because this, you educate your prospect exactly what it is that you're going to do. It also allows the business owner that you're selling to feel like they have control, because they know what they're buying, right? Because you've shown them exactly what it is that you're going to do for them. And after I've done this, I normally ask them like, okay, that's basically it. That's basically what we do. Do you have any specific questions? And if they do have that, then we just go through, maybe you have a specific question about Facebook ad or the funnel, and then we discuss that essentially. And then we go over to the next phase, and that's basically the offer. So here I basically explain how our offer works. So I do the value stack as I explained before. So, we're gonna do the marketing campaign management. We value that at around $3,500 per month. You get access to our software, $500 per month, our app, that we've developed, around $300 per month. You get an assigned sales copywriter, which is going to be Gary. We value him at around $2,000 per month. You also get access to our senior media buyer, Nicholas. You also get access to our also media buyer, Hendrik, but is mainly our funnel designer and A/B tester. You also get access to our Facebook rep, Chris. Then we also have a bonus right now, our omnichannel brand retargeting. We value that at around $997 per month. And then you also get access to our bonus number 2, our 100% area exclusivity, and our Roi Guarantee, and that's priceless. And then I basically tell them that this is a total value of almost $14,000. Obviously, we're not going to charge $14,000. And then you do the price drop. We are going to charge $3,487 a month with the ROI included. This is a 120-day agreement, excluding the ad spend, and we have a cap of 25 clients. So that is basically a quick rundown of how we do our presentations, and this is a living document. We're constantly changing this, but hopefully this is giving you some ideas on how to build a pitch deck and why it is so important. So now when I've showed you this, let's dig into the main presentation here, and let's finalize this video with the summary. So the first thing I want to talk about is to always do your sales calls over Zoom. So it allows you to show your face, share a screen, it builds trust and authority, and it lowers your prospect's guard because they start to trust you more because they can see you, and you can also nod and kind of show them that you understand, or smile, or whatever it might be, or look grim or serious, right? Also, the second thing that I highly recommend is to learn spin. So buy and read the book Spin Selling by Neil Rackham. Don't tell, ask questions, as I talked about before. Learn it and use it. Learning spin is probably one of the, or it is at least for me, the single most powerful skill that I've learned when it comes to sales. And sales is arguably the most important skill that you have when you run a business, because it doesn't matter how good product you have, if you cannot sell it, nothing is going to happen in your business, right? This book is a little bit tough to read, right? The concept of spin is very simple, as I explained to you before: situation questions, problem questions, implication questions, and need payoff questions. But the book can be a little bit heavy to read. So I recommend to actually buy the physical book, but also buy the audiobook so that you can listen to it while you read. Normally makes it a little bit easier. And then the point number 3 is to leverage media buyers, right? So leverage their system, past results, and testimonials if you have none yourself. So this is a matrix hack that you can do in the beginning, right? And also, if you're a seasoned or experienced agency owner, finding a really good media buyer with really good past client results in your specific niche, and then leverage that in your own agency, it's just gonna strengthen your specific brand and your business even more. So highly recommend that. And then point number 4 is to use the pitch deck on your sales call, right? To create a powerful pitch deck will serve you and your agency very well in the long term. All right, so that's basically it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it is a longer video, but this is actually a heavily requested video that I've had for quite a period of time. How to do the sales call, how to do a pitch deck, how do you find a media buyer, how do you leverage a media buyer. So I hope this provided a ton of value for you. And if you just select a specific niche, select a specific service, find a media buyer that has experience in that niche and with that service, and you create the sales presentation like this, and you buy Zoom and like a Calendly booking software or something like this, there's no reason why you cannot onboard your first 3 to 5 clients and make your first $10,000 per month easily. Please let me know what you thought of this video, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below as well. If there's anything specific that you want me to clarify, either in the comment section or maybe I even do a new video about that specific question, yeah, let me know. Let's keep the communication going in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Subscribe to the channel. We're gonna grow this big, so following along on the journey. See you in the next video.